The Dearborn Independent, October 22nd, 1927, Volume 28, Number 1. Mr. Ford's page of the Dearborn Independent on choosing one's career. There is something almost pathetic in the wistfulness and the demanding eagerness with which young people challenge us to give a word of counsel, a word of advice which shall solve the problem of their careers. Whether the young men and the young women really believe that anyone can solve the problem for them is a question. Perhaps somewhere in the background of the mind there is a sense that the best any friend can do is just to let it be brought out and turned around in discussion. What every mature person knows is this: none of us know enough of all the elements involved to give sure counsel in personal matters. The report of experience and observation is this: oftener, the career chooser, the person chooses the career. To one who makes himself, there are 1,000 who are made by circumstances they did not foresee. There is a destiny that shapes our ends. This does not mean, of course, that we are the sports of fate. It may mean that deeper than our intellectual conception of what we should like to be, there is a spiritual direction towards what we were meant to be. And in this sense, what we were meant to be is usually just what we are. We would not be anything else. The whole question is suggested by two persons who were recently seen. One has come late to his career. For nearly a quarter of a century, he has kept himself ready to use his opportunity when it came, and for a quarter of a century it seemed to him that his opportunity would never come. There were months when it almost seemed that the quest would end in heartbreak. The glow had gone, the vision has vanished, nothing remained but the sheer grit. Then the opportunity came, and the man was ready to embrace it. Of course, it had nothing of a halo about it for him that it might have had 20 years ago. To the world of onlookers, there is a great thrill in the story, but not for him. He knows by what painful steps he toiled up to it. He remembers how often he was on the verge of letting go, how often, indeed, he did let go but was carried on by the sheer momentum of his effort. It all makes for modesty and sincerity in him, but it is very different from what the onlookers conceive it to be. Behind the scene, success is a very plain experience. The other person is young, high-spirited, brilliant, with the new ideas and the modern vision, restive and impatient, believing that there must be some secret spring which is discovered and touched would presto bring about the desired success and service. Not at some future time, but now. Bring it to the pass next week. It is rather difficult to say to such a person, probably it is unnecessary even to try to give youth a glimpse of middle-age experience, that all this training at the tether, all this brilliant impatience, all this generation of high effort is not solid performance at all, but practice, training. The effort seems so real, so final. To describe them as only the prancing of the impatient mind and not genuine progress sounds cruel in the ears of one most interested. In the deep unwritten wisdom of life, there are many things to be learned that cannot be taught. We never know them by hearing them spoken, but we grow into them by experience and recognize them through understanding. Understanding is a great experience in itself, but it does not come through instruction. And one of the matters which we understand and which may perhaps be reduced to words in such a form as to help those who are on the brink of life and those who are wondering why things do not immediately respond to their imprecious command, One of the elements of experience which may perhaps be passed across from the more mature condition to the less mature condition is this: life is a series of plantings, and what you restive desire may be planting now will take root and grow and come to flower at the time when it may be you have forgotten that you ever planted it. What a man sows, he shall reap. It is not a threat, it is a promise. And earnest, ambitious people are sowing all the time. One of the surprising qualities of life is that men reap things they have forgotten they ever sowed. They plant the seed of desire and expectation, but because they do not immediately see the fruit, they grow weary of waiting and turn their attention elsewhere. But the seed is a living thing and grows, forgotten or not. It grows, and in due time it comes to flower and fruit. Experience is a harvest of life, and every harvest is the result of sowing. The experience which young people most crave is that of success in some service for which they are naturally fitted, and they wish it at once, immediately. Youth wishes to touch a magic button and command success without apprenticeship, but nothing ripens that is not first planted. And the very desires, the impatience, the dreams, the ambitions of youth are by way of planting which shall be come to fruition, sometimes after these desires are abandoned and forgotten. For the sown seed goes on growing whether we remember it or not. The wisdom of life is to keep on planting.